What's up, you guys? How you doing today? So pause the video right here if you guys want to learn how to win platinum over here on this YouTube channel. We pick 3 winners every single week, and how you guys could earn platinum over on my Twitch channel, which we also pick 3 winners every single week. Okay, getting into the video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the index and, just different ways that you guys can go about doing the index. And it's because the index is the best way for you guys to be making credits in the game currently. Of all the different ways that you guys could be making credits, this is the #1 way that I'd recommend. It's the way that I'm going to show you guys because you can make the most amount of credits in the shortest amount of time. Now, why are credits important, Neo? What do they have to do with trade chat? Glad you asked. Great question. So, every 1 platinum that you guys wind up receiving in trade chat is costing you about 500 credits. Which means if you wanted to collect, let's say you had a goal of like 10,000 platinum that you wanted to, accumulate or something. That's going to cost you to get that 10,000 platinum around 5 million credits. And it's just important for you guys to know how to get credits really quickly. So we're going to go into the index, and what we're always going to want to do is we're going to want to do the hardest mode, the high risk index. That's what we're going to want to do every single time that we go in there. Now, is it possible for you to solo it? Yes, absolutely. And even if you're soloing it, you should still probably be able to complete it in about 7 minutes. If you can complete an index in about 7 minutes or less every time that you do it, and it may be more beneficial for you to go to the index, do 1 round, and then back out, then go in, do 1 round, and then back out after you're done with that round, because the longer you stay there, the harder it gets, and that's the more time it's going to cost you. And if all you're looking for is credits, it doesn't really matter. To my knowledge, there's no extra bonus or anything like that on top of, you staying many more waves or anything like that. So personally, I think, for when it gets harder and stuff like that, it's probably easier for you just to back out and do it all over again. Now, if you have a credit booster on like I do, every time you do a high-risk index, you're going to wind up gaining about 450,000 credits in about 7 minutes, which is fantastic. So definitely recommend this as a method. That means that if you busted this out for an hour, you just kept doing it, leaving, it took you 7 minutes or less, and you kept doing it and leaving and doing it and leaving. At the end of 60 minutes, you're going to wind up with approximately 3.6 million credits. And that took you about an hour to do, which is fantastic because, if your goal is the 10,000, you want 5 million credits and all that sort of stuff, which you're basically going to wind up getting to in about an hour and a half worth of time. So this is definitely something that you want to be doing as far as gaining credits goes. Now, what do you bring when you go into the index? Okay, so the main squad that we've been running with to do the index is... we'll have, #1, we'll have a DPS Mesa, or Mesa, however you pronounce it. And this is the build that you guys are looking at right here. This is what the recommended ideal build is for the Mesa. Mesa is our kill frame, and she's the only one that's really intentionally going to be killing anything while we're in the index. And then the second frame we're going to want to have is an EV Trinity. This is just a standard EV Trinity build. There's really nothing super special about it. You're really just looking to pull energy for the team so that Mesa could be killing, and then the other frames could be all juiced up on energy and everything. And then the other 2 frames that we bring 2 rhinos. And we bring the rhinos because even though, they can buff themselves and they could stay really strong and all that sort of stuff, the main purpose of the rhino is really just to run around and collect the credits and just be a tank, just to take a lot of shots and stuff like that. It's not necessarily Rhino's purpose to kill anything, even though he can buff himself and make him stronger. It's his purpose basically to just have that iron skin on, to be extra strong, because the more little gems or whatever it is that you pick up while you're in the index, the less health you have, the slower you move. It's just the harder it is for you to live, the more that you're carrying. Now, when you're in the index, generally what you want to do is get yourself to a point where you've collected about 20 of them, those little gems, before you cash them in. Why? Because you're going to get a bonus on top of that. The bonus doesn't seem to grow any higher than 20, and if it does, it might be a little too far out of the reach where it doesn't even matter collecting that much. 20, I think, is the happy number that we've all been running this on. So if you guys get yourselves to 20 of those little gems or whatever they are, I mean, you're going to be pretty good. So once you get there, cash them in, you should have an extra bonus of 10, then boom, every time you pop that in there, you got an extra 30 points that you're basically donating, for your team's score. So just a side note, if you're buying a primed mod, or you have somebody buying a primed mod from you, they're going to have 1 million credits in order to make that trade. The buyer specifically. Same thing goes if you guys are trying to get rid of, let's say, like a maxed Arcane Energizer, just any of the highest level Arcane sets that you guys could be trading. you're going to need to have 1,000,000 credits in order to buy that sort of thing. So it's another reason you guys want to get really good at credits for all the good stuff here. That pretty much wraps it up for the index runs. Just so you guys are aware, like the team that I told you guys to go with, that's really if you're looking to do endurance runs. You could absolutely do it solo like I tend to do. Like I'll just take my Rhino out and I'll just solo the index if I have nobody to play with. It's not hard to do even on, you know, really difficult, as long as you have a good build and you really kind of understand that like you just got to keep yourself buffed and you just got to keep shooting stuff and delivering points and everything, and it's absolutely doable. You guys really shouldn't have a problem. And I don't believe it makes any kind of a difference as far as how much money you make at all, whether you solo or whether you go with the team. So it's totally up to you how you guys want to do that. So getting into a lot of the previous trades from this past week that I haven't gotten a chance to kind of show you guys yet, a lot of cool things that happened. I wound up going through all of my Rhino sets, like all the ones that I had, which is great because that's a great increase in platinum. I think we jumped, you know, I might have been at 4,000 or 5,000 plat, and we're over 10,000 now. And basically I was just kind of throwing my Rhino sets away. I was like, you know what, now is the time to sell them. It's a good time. I've had them long enough, and it's a good amount of platinum. I think the plat is at the right place to make money off of Rhino and stuff like that. As you guys can see, I wound up selling this Rhino set, and I wound up getting a legendary core for it, which is really cool. And part of the only reason I did that is because I've never had a legendary core before. I've never once had one in my possession. And as of me recording this video, I've already spent that legendary core. I wound up maxing out some prime mod that I needed that didn't have any endo in it whatsoever. So I definitely got the most out of it. I don't regret it, and it definitely feels good. For those of you guys that have been noticing, when the Sacrifice came out on PC, and console players, be prepared for this too, because we weren't prepared for this on PC, or at least a bunch of us weren't. We didn't know that when the Sacrifice came out, we were going to be getting 5 new primed mods to the game, and because of that, everyone was going nuts on Iatane statues. And I was in Discord, you know, a couple hours after the Sacrifice dropped and I completed the quest, and we're just watching trade chat, and somebody in my Discord wound up making 260 platinum off of 5 Iatane sculptures. And he wasn't even the one that suggested the price. He's just in trade chat. He says he wants to sell his Iatane sculptures, and somebody hits him up and gave him 260 plat for the 5 Iatane sculptures. So if you guys are on console, definitely something you want to stock up on, because you're going to be able to make a lot of platinum off of those, as people are just going to want to max those 5 prime mods out as soon as the Sacrifice hits console. So another thing you guys might notice in this video, which I think is really awesome, and I feel like a lot of people just say, oh, well, that never happens to me, or, you know, like, I'm never that lucky or whatever. But then on the other hand, for as long as I've been a part of this community, I've heard tons and tons of people tell me, either in my streams or in my comments or whatever, that, you know, oh, somebody just gave me this amount of platinum for something, they like way overpaid, they were just being nice, like all that sort of stuff. And I totally had that happen to me in trade chat. And for those of you guys that say like, oh, you know, it doesn't happen or whatever, it's never going to happen to me. Well, how often are you spending in trade chat? Like, how much time are you putting in there to be able to even put yourself, like, set yourself up for a layup and bump into these people? So I wound up moving a Fragger Prime set, which I didn't say I was selling. He totally just asked me if I had it. I told him what his price was. He told me 180, and I said sure to that. And you guys can see the conversation. And like, there was a point where he wound up even raising the price, and I was like, you're so generous, you know, like, why are you so generous? He's like, oh, you just seem cool. And I'm telling you guys, like, there are definitely people out there that are willing to pay whatever. They don't care, they just want it. You know, like, platinum or money or whatever is not an issue to them. It's not an option. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal, and you totally bump into these people. And for those of you that are like, oh, well, I can't believe you did that, you know, like, you totally ripped him off. Well, yes and no. One, if he would have offered anything less, I wouldn't have gotten rid of it. And though you might say that's greedy, I say that's smart, because what I'm training you guys to do is to make the most out of your time and energy here in the game. Now, I know that sooner or later, that Fragger Prime is going to wind up going up a lot higher in price, because currently it's vaulted. I believe it got vaulted with Vauban, which was like, you know, a little over 3 months ago. And maybe even 6 months ago. I don't remember. Whenever Vauban got vaulted. He just got vaulted. Anyway. That Fragger Prime set, now that it can't be obtained in the game anymore other than through trade chat, is only just going to keep accumulating in price. And if you ask me where I'd be comfortable selling it at, it would start at no less than 150 to 200. So it was kind of cool that he wound up just throwing that price out there, almost as if he just, like, knew. But I wound up asking him. He said, no, I don't know you. You know, like, he basically is just being a nice guy. Like, he didn't know. I get that it says YouTuber in my name, but he didn't know who I was. Like, I basically told him to go check my channel out afterwards and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I'm telling you guys, like, it's not that the fact that I'm a YouTuber that I get these things. It's the fact that the Warframe community is like the best community on the planet. Like, you definitely have to be. And you know what it is? I've also noticed there's not as many trolls in the Warframe community too. And part of me wants to say I think it has a lot to do with when you're playing a game like this. It's really hard for you to be of lesser intelligence and play this game because typically trolls, it's really, they're just not very bright. They're not very smart people for the most part. Like the people that are just angry bad people that you see in other games that just like ruin trade chat or ruin the experience. You kind of have to have a certain level of intelligence to play this game between the building and the farming and just, you know, the best way to go about stuff for you to really get the most out of it. And you don't have to be super smart or anything like that, but you definitely got to be smarter than a troll. And I think that's the reason why we don't really find a lot of people. Now, they're out there, sure. There are some trolls that lucked out and got a little smart, and now they're playing this game. But for the most part, I think that's the reason why this community is pretty awesome. There's really not a lot of trolls in this game, or it really takes a certain level of intelligence to really kind of get, you know, the hang of this game and really understand what's going on. And I quickly just want to point out that, like, I did wind up recording some of this while I was streaming a week ago or within the past week, and I totally forgot to turn my overlay off. So when you guys are seeing that stuff in like the bottom of the screen or whatever, that's just from my stream. That's what you guys will see when you guys are hanging out on my stream and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, hopefully you guys found this video helpful. Absolutely love your faces. Thank you so much for all the love and support and all that. You guys really are just the best. You absolutely are. And if it's not just for your higher intelligence, then it's just for the fact that I don't know, you guys are just always coming to these videos willing to learn more and more. So I appreciate the heck out of you guys. Love your faces. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.